This week on Profile, Stacy and Scott Simonson, chef and co-owners of the legendary Chez NOUS restaurant. So what is a typical day for you?
Typical day would be the garden. I do all the flower arrangements over here, so we typically have guests that want, anniversary arrangements, or we'll have special groups in the back, so I'll try to do the flowers and then get right into the prep. Once I get the prep going, I try to, my sous chef will come in, I'll turn the kitchen over to him, and then do whatever I need to do with Cuisinaire, fill the orders, place more orders for the shirts, or go pick embroidery up. We do all the embroidery ourselves on the shirts as well. So that's one of the errands I have to run today, is going and picking up some more chef jackets.
So take me back for a second. On top of running this restaurant, on top of running Chez NOUS and being the chef, you also now have a line of cookware. Mm-hmm. How did this get started, and take me through that?
Well, we actually have a customer that's been coming here since the day it opened. She's German, and she brings me some really cool German cookbooks and translates recipes for me and just different things. They have a business over there, so they're over there quite a bit in the year. And she brought me a cookbook by Joanna Meyer, who is an Austrian chef actually, and she had these beautiful dresses made that were very Dutch in style with big flowy skirts, but embossed linen shirts that were a little bit more feminine, cut for a lady. So my mom has always been a really good seamstress. She's made my prom dresses. She made my sister-in-law's wedding dress. And so Birgette actually had the first one made for me at a tailor downtown. And I got so many compliments on it in the dining room that I gave it to my mom. I said, let's create some tops for me that are a little bit different so we can do some more styles. She made some more styles. People in the dining room were going crazy about it. And so I just thought, there's nothing out there like this for women. And you have to wear such big, burly clothes, burlap sack jackets that just don't fit you properly. So what we did is just take the idea, and we went through probably 100 different materials. The material that we chose for this is cotton and spandex, so it gives a little bit of stretch so that you can actually move with being form-fitting. Obviously, we're going to add a maternity line now, but yeah, it's been really, really great. The heat in the kitchen alone, wearing long sleeves all the time, is just not something that I've never really liked. Certain chefs like to have the long sleeves for protection, but I think it's just it's your personality and what you like.
Now, how initially, taking back to the very beginning, how did Chez NOUS end up here in this location?
Well, Chef Brock was a restaurant consultant for a while as well, so he understood the importance of being frugal. Now, he was working with Jasper's here, the barbecue place. He was part owner in one of those. But he wanted to start something because he was newly married to Sandra and had 3 daughters. And they needed a place where they could live and also get something going on his own without having to disrupt their entire financial world. So they were going to open here. They found this place in '83. So he found the spot. They were able to move in, do the renovations for a year. His father was actually here from France, and basically get this main dining room going where they were living in the back, which is now another dining room. And that's how they did it. And it was just Brock in the kitchen, just Sandra out front. Danielle at the time, who was the maitre d' here, she was 5, and she was doing dishes at that time. We got a big circle of story here. Mm-hmm. It all ties together. But
so really, you're the next generation of this original vision that he had for Chez NOUS.
Yes.
Brock is he is definitely an old school French chef, being that extremely passionate, brings out a little bit of volatile behavior sometimes, and it was very intense in the beginning. Because I lived in the Caribbean and I waited tables for 10 years, he was very hesitant to bring me in. So I literally called him every day for 3 months until he got sick of me calling, and he asked me on the phone, will you stop calling me if I hire you? And I said, yes, sir, I will. He said, are you going to wash dishes? I said, I certainly will. And he had me on that dish station for 3 months. And it was very frustrating to go from making, big money bartending and waiting tables to what he was paying at that time. In the kitchen, it was very rough. Mm-hmm. But I think that determination is what got me to where I am today, and his constantly pushing me to become better. In the beginning, I think he had a lot of reservations about me because I was from the Caribbean, and I had a little bit less of, I don't know how to put it, drive, I guess, or he didn't see the drive because living in the Caribbean, it's a laid back atmosphere. It's a very laid back lifestyle. But I knew what I wanted to do. I put my mind to it. I came in every day 2 hours off the clock in the beginning and stayed 2 hours later off the clock, and begged anybody in the kitchen to teach me what they could. And that he saw as a little glimmer of somebody that wants to learn. So he put more effort into me, which I'm extremely grateful for. The effort he put into me, you know, we had a relationship blossom from mentor to almost a father figure. You know, Scott and I, when we can't go home for the holidays, we'll go to his home and celebrate it with his wife and his children. And that's been, you know, something very, very special over the past 5 years to develop, having a second family here.
So your formal training has really all been through Chez NOUS.
I definitely cooked with my grandmothers and my mom and stuff like that, but that was mostly, you know, Southern food, Tex-Mex, growing up on the border and stuff like that. So, you know, my first fine dining experience was at table 54 right in the corner, and I was terrified. You know, Chef Brock, it was when Scott came to visit, actually, and he let us have a chef table and did 6 courses and paired it with wine. We knew nothing about any of it. You know, I was used to working in restaurants that was more, you know, family oriented, so there wasn't that structure, that dining, the pairings and all of those things. So he really opened our eyes into a whole new world of what you can become and what you can expect with food, that it doesn't have to be so simple.
You and Scott are married, and he has his responsibilities within the business and you have yours. Now specifically, what is your role? And we'll talk, we'll talk to him about it.
I think my role is definitely the food. You know, Scott has a lot of creative sides to him, but for me, my passion is definitely creating the menus and playing around with different ideas and the food. And I'm lucky that I get to do that and kind of do it solo, because when you're passionate about something like that and being a control freak, it's easier to do those things solo. And then you take your product to your mate or to my partner. And he'll taste it and tell me what needs to be tweaked and fixed, and I'll go in the kitchen and do it again and until I get it perfect.
That'll help.
Pepper?
Black pepper? White pepper?
Black.
No.
What are your responsibilities versus how do you guys divide and delegate, and what do you do?
Well, in the last couple of years, when we started, we were both in the kitchen. And we both handled everything in the kitchen, but she had the groundwork of training with Brock and working what we call the middle, and that is the lead. I, at this point, am able to step to the front of the house, not have to be a line cook at night. I can jump in wherever I need to. I can run any station in the kitchen, and I can run any station in the dining room. So what they have me doing now, essentially, are morning prep. Where I'll butcher the ducks, I'll start the veal stock, I'll do any long braising, I'll make the veal and duck terrine, you know, things that can be done ahead of time that is not a la minute service. So any preparation or planning in that, and you know, again, I can go through the refrigerators in the morning. Basically in my spare time, got my tea, pull everything out of the refrigerator and find things that need to go, find things that are in the wrong place or too many containers or things like that, and help the rest of the guys in the kitchen along. In that sense. So basically, I'm like a sous chef in that I back the chef up with everything, anything I can do.
Okay.
But officially, I'm not the sous, because that is the person who works at night who can jump in if chef goes down.
And we will find you in the front of the house. When the doors open, you are front of the house, you are greeting and seating and...
Yes, yes, depending on what may pull me away, because I'll often throw the jacket off and put an apron on in my dress clothes and have to perhaps carve chateaus for a party or jump into the line for a second or jump into garde manger for a minute. But yes, I'm in the front of the house. I have my maitre d' and my manager, Olga, you met her, who handle things on a day-to-day. So I'm able to come through as an owner, yes, greet people, go to this table, schmooze this table, talk to them, open some wine over here, clear a table, whatever needs to be done.